yes, we're live.
We are getting started.
One and not on the other, and so I don't know.
Trying to do two
this.
things at
Trying
once,
to do
you
two
know.
things at once.
We are multitaskers. We're in the kitchen. We're drinking wine.
If I was to go to Control Center, do you know how to do iPhone?
Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, hi there. Hi everybody.
We're gonna catch up.
Yeah. This is our Facebook Live event, so we're so thankful that you're here. So, you know, we've got a great thing planned. I'm Susie Murray, and this is my co-host, Kristen Cook. I am with Classes In. That is my blog. That's where you can go and find some great recipes and some videos on how to make easy and delicious things. Today we are pouring and pairing for Vous. That is our event, and so
that's all the French we're going to speak
that's
today.
it, because that's all I know, except for oui. So yeah. Kristen is with Boissé Wines, and she's going to go into detail and tell you a whole lot more about that. I'm going to be cooking up 3 healthy courses, and then Kristen's going to be pairing them. And as we're doing that, we're going to be serving them to our guests, Nina and Han. And they're going to be asking some questions, so it's going to be educational and fun. More than anything in the world, we want this to be fun. So let us know. Yeah, so anyway, thanks so much for joining us.
Boissé Wine Ambassador. I'm going to pour 3 wines from the Boissé Wine Collection. I get asked a lot what we mean by clean wines, and in the wine world, we're going to talk about 3 terms that are thrown out there that a lot of people are very confused by. I'm going to break it down for you today. So we've got organic wines, we've got vegan wines, and we've got dry farmed wines. All 3 different. Some can be both. Some can be all of them. So we're going to break that down for you. But most of all, we're just going to drink some wine, eat some great food. Susie is an amazing cook, and I've got to sample these dishes already, so I'm super happy about that. So we're going to kick it off with the first dish, and Susie's got some great tips for you.
Just look, find out if it is. If somebody can go on Facebook and see if mine's working or not, that'd be great. If not, that's okay. All right, so what are we doing?
Told you, this is live. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
She's making our first dish. And then
so our first dish today is a spicy Thai chicken meatball. I've got some ground chicken, some panko breadcrumbs. Into that I am adding, let's see, my favorite things. So I've got some green onion, seeded jalapeno pepper, and some basil. You can use basil, you can use a combination if you'd like cilantro and basil, so that works too. I'm pulsing it in because I don't want to chop it all up. I can't get it finely chopped enough by hand. I'm going to do it like this. Adding some 3 tablespoons.
I love the way Susie measures. This is my kind of stuff.
Yes, right? Soy sauce. I'm going to add a little bit of chili pepper flakes. One of my favorite things in the world I want you to see are these. This is my favorite. I have to keep them in the freezer because they don't work well otherwise. This is what I call a gift from the gods. If you have this, you never have to have regular garlic again. You don't have to chop it. I went to a friend's house recently and she said, here, chop these 3 cloves of garlic. And it took me so long to do it. And I was like, if you only had these little things. So I buy these at Trader Joe's. These are garlic cubes you can see in the back. There's 24 of them. They equal 1 clove each. And I'm just going to pop that into here. They do need to thaw just a little bit, so you can't pop them out, right? They also come in ginger. So, and sometimes I can find basil and cilantro and parsley, but I haven't found that very often most recently. So, but the garlic and the ginger, my favorite things on the planet. You have to know about it. Huge time saver and tastes better than the kind in the jar and stuff like that. So I'm going to pulse this back in. Again, you would normally want to make sure that those cubes are melted, because they're not right now, but they would be. And I'm going to do the magic of television and bring you out some that's already mixed. So I've got all this stuff in here. I'm going to work it loosely with my hands. You don't want to overmix. You don't want to overmix your meat because if you do, it's going to get tough. So we're just going to loosely do it like this. And then
Learn something new every day.
You wouldn't know, right? Some things we wouldn't know if somebody didn't, didn't tell us. So I'm gonna put these onto a baking sheet. I'm gonna put them in like about 1-inch balls, about like that, on baking sheet. Put them in the oven, 400 for.
Golf balls, Susie, or cross balls?
So guess what? So the recipe that I started with, I just started with as a, this was what was really funny. It said, I always like to use a recipe for inspiration. And then from there, I try it and then I add and do other things to it. And it said lacrosse ball size balls. And I was like, I don't know what a lacrosse ball is. And I looked it up. And evidently they're anywhere from, I think about a golf ball up to like 5.5 inches or 8 inches. I'm like, oh, I think that might be a little bit too big.
We know golf.
So tonight, what we're doing is we're doing appetizers. This is our appetizer, so that's why we're just making those small. And I think my time is up. Is that right? Ooh, I like it when things turn out really, really well. So here I go.
And you cook those how long?
I cooked them 8 minutes at 400 degrees. Okay, so I've got these out of the oven right here. And now there's a couple ways you can serve them.
This is my favorite part.
Yay.
Well, eating it's my favorite part.
Okay, so we're not going to serve them yet. Okay, yeah, that's right. So I'm going to put them in a sauce. This is easy. So I'm going to use this skillet here. And the recipes are all going to be available for you on our Facebook pages. I've got some soy sauce, brown sugar. This is lime juice. And one of those ginger cubes in there. Stir that up and heat that till it comes to a boil real quickly. I'm going to add some fresh cilantro and some fresh basil. And as that heats up, and it gets hot, should happen real quickly here. And
Should I get them started on the wine?
yeah, go ahead and start. Yeah, please do that.
They look thirsty.
Yeah,
so
they do. They definitely look thirsty. So yeah,
And then you can show me how to plate it.
Yeah. And now
Susie's got the hard job. I got the easy job. I just pour the wine and make it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so the very first wine we chose to pair with her yummy Thai meatballs. Thai chicken?
Yeah, spicy Thai chicken meatballs.
Spicy Thai chicken meatballs. That's a mouthful. Is this beautiful organic wine from Côte de Rhône, and it's from Louis Bernard Winery. So I actually poured you guys some in your glasses. And what do we mean by organic in the United States? First of all, I'm going to swirl this around. So organic means you cannot add any chemical or synthetic treatments to the vineyard. So organic grapes grown in the vineyards over in Sonoma, actually, or in France, sorry. So we're going to swirl this one around, guests. And we're going to just do a quick smell. Put your nose in there. Wow. So this has got like some white flowers. You can see this color. It's kind of like a straw green almost, yellow, very pale, but almost a green. And so definitely some fruit flavors. I'd say peach and apricot. What do you guys think?
Whoa.
This is only 13.5% alcohol, by the way.
I can definitely
And
taste
it's, and it's a $20 wine. So for being organic, I know this is a big buzzword. A lot of people are looking for organic wines. Organic wines are becoming more and more popular as people really want to, take care about what they're putting in their bodies, what they're putting in their glasses. But right now, a very small percentage of wineries can actually be certified organic. There's sulfites that are added to wines a lot of times. We heard a lot of buzzwords about sulfites also. So a wine can be made with organic grapes, but the wine might not necessarily be certified organic. So that's just something for you to know. But these are organic grapes, so that means no chemicals, no synthetic applied to the vineyards and when they were growing these grapes.
So Kristen,
Yep.
Can you explain to me the difference between organic and vegan?
Vegan is coming up next, but I'm so glad you asked that, Jennifer. So, Will, are you ready yet, Susie, or should I jump into vegan?
I'm ready.
Okay, we're gonna wait on the vegan question. Thank you for asking, because the next wine, this is vegan also, but the next wine is vegan, and we're gonna talk about what that means.
That's
So,
a great wine.
for now, cheers. Enjoy.
Cheers.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Mm.
All right, so that one is going to be paired with, here we are with our chicken meatballs, spicy Thai chicken meatballs. And like I've shown you, just depending on how you want to serve them, you can serve them in a bowl like this. Or if you want to class it up a little bit, because that's what I'm all about, is taking something very simple and just classing it up. And I put it on a...
What was it smelling like? You thought it was dumping them.
I'm like, please.
Like,
And this is another way that you can do it. All right, and you can serve them like this. So,
What even the thought of that?
yeah, there you go.
Get this
All right,
first.
so you guys gonna taste that and taste your wine. Do we need more wine glasses?
Yum, yum, yum.
Okay. Did they get to taste what their?
Not with their,
Yeah. Do they want to do
their
that,
food,
right?
so you want,
Yeah. So you guys want to taste
take,
that?
take a swirl of your wine, and you're good.
Smells nice.
So we paired the wine specifically, well, Susie paired the dishes specifically to go with the 3 clean wines that I selected for tonight. So I thought we did a great job. I want to go home and make all these dishes myself. She makes it look super easy, but it is. I mean, you know, a couple of cute little, like I'm going to go buy those garlic cubes right after we get done here, definitely. Okay, so that was the first dish. We've got another wine and another dish. Are you ready for our second?
I am. I actually am. Yes. Let me turn this on.
It's very, very nice.
You like that one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So you become, but you see how it's a little bit, it's a little cloudy, right? It's leaving some residue on the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is
Yeah.
that?
So organic, remember, no chemical, well, actually more to do with the vegan. So
Oh,
we're
I
gonna talk
see.
about that in a second.
So the next course we have is a
It is good.
It is.
grilled citrus, grilled salad, avocado, got some oranges, things like that in it. And what I'm doing is I'm making my own dressing here. Let me see that. And I've got some orange and some lemon juice, some parsley, salt and pepper, and I put the parsley. The reason I'm doing it here, you can actually shake it up in a jar if you want to, but I'm lazy and I don't like to chop things real finely, so if I do it in the blender, it does it for me, so I don't have to do it.
And it looks so good.
Because I'm really lazy. And also, what I wanted to show you, I'm going to use a little bit of zest. And what I do is I just take this, there's little tabletop, there's little hand zesters as well. I think this adds that really punch, that little bit of punch to it. So you can do that with your lemon and your orange, you can do that with wine.
Do you do that all the time, Jennifer?
All the time.
But I really do it all the time.
I have that hand zester.
Well, and I make lemon curd, and I've learned how to make it in the microwave, and lemon curd is not as good if you don't put the lime, the lime in it. You have to have that. So.
Like I said, you never know what's gonna happen when you go live.
Right, okay.
What
So
was
what
that?
I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some of this on the salad for the dressing, but the other part of it, I'm gonna pour a little bit out into a little ramekin here. This is gonna be what I'm gonna base the shrimp with. The reason I want to pour it into this is because I don't want to contaminate the rest of the dressing. So pour out what you think you might use for your base. And here I've got some shrimp, and I've actually put them on skewers that I've soaked. Really important that you soak them. You don't soak them.
You have
And you have fire, and I know that because I did that, right? I've done all these things the hard way. People eat with their eyes, I always say, so you always want to make sure to make things aesthetically correct. And what I've done here is I've made the shrimp all going in the same direction. I'm going to baste them with this dressing. Turn them
I've got to
over.
learn to be more of a perfectionist. This is nice.
And you don't have to put them on a skewer, but you're going to see why I'm doing it that way. You can certainly serve the salad without doing that and putting them on a hot griddle. This is my favorite part of this place that I'm living in right now is the stove with this griddle. It is absolutely amazing.
Who's got the griddle feature on their stove? I remember I had one in LA and I never knew what to use it for, and now I'm learning what I should have been using my griddle for.
So my salad is actually, I have some, in here, what I've done is I have some romaine lettuce that I've chopped up, some red onion, and I like to leave mine in fairly big slices because I personally love the flavor that it adds, but I don't like to eat big pieces of it. So I like to pick mine out, so I leave it that way. I've got an orange that I've cut up here, and some avocado. So I'm going to toss that with this dressing. You can always put, I like to use it sparingly and then set some on the side for people to add more if they'd like. I'm turning my shrimp over. I know I use my hands, but I'm kind of tuned into this, so I kind of know when to do stuff, but I understand not everybody's like that. So, and I also have a cucumber. And what I did was I cut my cucumber lengthwise into 4 sections and then cut them in little chunks like this. Again, I'm telling you these little details because there's a reason for it. I have a method, I have a reason for all the little things that I do. So here we go.
And she's sharing with you, so you can all be professionals.
Let's take these shrimp off. So there's a couple ways we can plate this. Again, I like to show you a couple different ways. Here's you can add some salt and pepper to this too. You can serve it on the side. So this would be one way to make sure we get a little bit of all the things. We've got some avocado and some cucumber and all that. And then I'm going to set my little shrimp skewer on top like that.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
that's a great way to present.
Make sure everybody can see this creation.
As I promised, we would class it up a little bit, classing everything up just a tad. And I'm going to also, this is what I like to do. I just love to do ever since I was like 5 years old and did imaginary tea parties, I always like to make everything
She
extra.
wasn't drinking martinis at 5 years old. She just discovered martini glasses. Somehow.
Exactly. So I'm going to do it like that. And then I'm going to set my skewer on top.
Wow.
And I just think that looks
Ooh,
amazing.
yes. Oh my goodness.
Special.
Here you
Thank
go.
you.
You're welcome.
Shrimp teenies.
Yes.
Shrimp teenies. Shrimp salad.
Everything tastes
Okay.
better at eating
Okay,
from a
yeah.
martini glass,
That's
right?
yours.
Including the martinis.
Okay.
Beautiful.
All right.
So there you go.
So make sure you guys have finished your first line because I'm getting ready to pour you our first red. Okay. So we are going to be tasting the Wattle Creek Red Blend from over on the Sonoma side. So it looks like Han is ready for some red. Mina's been very busy, so let me cut her some slack. This is actually made up of 4 different grapes. So this is going to be some Cabernet Sauvignon, Zinfandel, Petit Syrah, Petit Verdot. This is a vegan wine, and what do we mean by vegan? Jennifer's been very patient. So I'm going to tell her now. The vegan, to be classified as vegan means it does not go through the fining process. And what is fining? Fining is a very traditional winemaking process that you use to, you use proteins like from egg whites or from milk. Therefore, if you remove that process, there goes your, now it's vegan. But why do we do that? We do that so that the wine will be clearer, so it adds clarity, and it also adds a little texture. So this first wine was vegan, and you notice there was like some residue and stuff on it. There's nothing wrong with the wine. You just need to know that it's a vegan wine. It hasn't been filtered or fined, so that it probably is leaving some stuff in there because otherwise it would have made it much clearer. So the same thing in this one. I'm not really seeing any residue on this one, but full disclosure, this is absolutely one of my favorite every night drinking wines. I'm not saying I drink every night, but I'm saying it's very. This is an $18 wine, you guys, and I serve this, and everybody loves it. So Wattle Creek Red Blend, 4 different grapes. This is 14.5% alcohol, but vegan. So if you want to feel good about that, I know that there's no, animal products in your wine. You're going to get. So this would be more of your red fruit, so your raspberry, your cherry, and then when you taste it,
How does it go?
So
Mm. Mm.
that's really
Yeah.
nice. I could see
This is-
drinking that every night.
This is fruit forward, definitely. If you like a fruit forward wine, this is your wine. This is your jam. No pun intended. Well, pun intended. Kind of. But yeah, this is one I keep all the time. So vegan. Does that answer your question about vegan versus
Yes, thank
organic? Yeah. So, cheers, everybody. And this should go excellent. It does very well with seafood, spicy sauces. The citrus in this, I think, will pair nicely with your red blend. Some people shy away from seafood and red wine. You just have to know the flavor profile of the wine, and there's a lot of red wine that actually goes with seafood. So,
This goes wonderfully.
yay!
Yay!
Cheers! We love making you happy.
Yeah, I know,
And I
right?
made you really happy because now I used to get back and watch Susan make the main course. So.
Ah,
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. Oh, wait, Nina, I'm so sorry.
She didn't
You
give me
missed
wine?
out on the pour. Well, she had to finish her white.
Ah, I
You don't
see.
get to go to the reds till you finish your
Okay.
whites. So.
Well, maybe I can have a little bit too while I'm cooking. How's
I
that?
think that we could
We
probably
could
do
do
that.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that.
I
Thank
have a
you.
really bad habit of like holding people's hands. When
I
pour
get
the
like
wine.
how we used to.
I think because they
Tell
move it
the
all the
kids.
time, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna spit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, I can't believe
All right.
it. We're ready for the
I
main
know, we're
course.
doing really well.
Yeah.
So our third course is actually a pork tenderloin Dijon with apples and onions. Again, these recipes, if you'll notice, have all been done very light oil, very clean. The chicken didn't have, it was very lean chicken, didn't have any oil or anything added to it, just a few breadcrumbs and some spices. The same thing with the salad, just that little bit of oil for the dressing. You can certainly lighten it up if you wanted to. Use less dressing or less oil, that's up to you. And so for the third course, the pork tenderloin, I'm going to show you how to do that. I also have already prepared my favorite rice dish, and it's called mushroom rice pilaf with toasted almonds. So I've already made that, but I'm going to just kind of tell you what I did. So I took pre-sliced mushrooms. Again, I'm always looking for time savers. So I bought them pre-sliced, and I put them in a little bit of butter and sauteed them up a little bit, put my rice in the pan, I toasted that up with the mushrooms, and then I added chicken broth and pre-toasted almonds like that I get, again, Trader Joe's. I hope you have a Trader Joe's near you, but having these already toasted is wonderful. And before I used to have to toast all these things myself, and I would do them in large batches, and then I would put them in the freezer, but now they come this way, so it's one of my faves. So I've done that, so I've got my rice is ready here, and now I'm gonna, and then we're also serving some asparagus, and I'm going to talk about the pork. So, this is a pork tenderloin, again, Trader Joe's, you can get it anywhere. There's a big difference between pork tenderloin and pork loin, and I didn't always know that, but pork tenderloin is very lean and very, when it says tenderloin, it is that. So I like to explain, I think I know what I'm talking about, but I'm not completely sure I know what I'm talking about. And that is when you have a T-bone steak and you have the one side of it's very tender and the other side is not quite as tender as the other one. That's what this tenderloin is. It's kind of the same kind of idea of where it is in the pig, right? Okay. So what I've done is I've taken a pork tenderloin, I've patted it dry, rinsed it, patted it dry, and seasoned it with salt and pepper. I'm going to add just a little bit of oil. I'm using olive oil to this.
She's very comfortable with that pork tenderloin, I have to say. Keeps it up.
Right?
Yeah.
So I've got
I
my
think you've
pan
done this
really
before.
high. Yeah, a lot. I really do love this kind of meat. I make it lots of different ways and just love it. But Trader Joe's still, to me, has the best prices on it. And they come in single, like 1 pound, about a pound each. This is a little bit larger. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to brown it.
I was gonna say you're just searing it.
Searing it. I'm just searing. I'm not cooking it in the pan. I'm going to cook it in the oven. So I'm just going to sear it on all 4 sides. Kind of, turn it up. You can hear I didn't have it quite hot enough. You want to have your pan really, really hot to do a really nice sear. 4. time-wise, just pretend I've done that. Okay? And I'm
Magic.
gonna put it into a baking dish. And I'm gonna add a little bit of butter. You can use oil, you don't have to use butter.
But you can never have too much butter.
I
You're
know.
usually a child. So
I've got some sliced onions. I like to use white onions for this dish. And probably like thinly sliced, like a quarter of an inch or less. However you like to do it. I'm going to do that. And we'll let that cook for a couple minutes. And then I'm going to add some sliced apples. You can use your apples, you can use them, you can peel them or not, that's up to you. I like the color, so I'm going to add that into there like that. To cook that again for a couple minutes. And until it's all done. Longer than what I'm doing now because this is the television, right?
about how long did you? I know it's going to be
Probably, yeah, it's on the
You're going to
recipe,
be
but
able
it's
to see how
about
much.
5 minutes for the onions and then maybe about 3 minutes for the apples, and you can do it all in one pan. Then I add some chicken broth and the Dijon mustard, which makes it heat, or tenderloin Dijon. There you go, a couple tablespoons of that. You can use more or less depending on your taste. I'm going to take all that. I just want to mix my mustard up a little bit in there. And then.
And I'm sorry, but I just have to insert. Who saw the Brady Bunch episode way back when it was pork chops and I mean, come on. It's like the perfect pairing, you know? The mushroom
I
pilaf,
totally
which
remember.
I don't know. Alice probably didn't make a mushroom pilaf, but we certainly had pork chops.
Oh my God.
So it is. It's a great pairing, though. And I have to say, I never thought about like cutting up the slices and adding it in with my apples and the butter and just.
Because I love this, I love doing my pork tenderloin with heavy cream and
This is the healthy version.
and all that kind of stuff. But I know that that's not the healthiest. So this one, again, just that little bit of butter and oil that I sauteed those things in and seared it in. But you do not have to do that. You can actually do this with just butter
And
if you
voila!
wanted to. So, pretend.
Another French word. I lied.
Oh, you lied. You said we weren't going to do
One more
that.
French word for you.
All right. So here we go.
Mmm.
It's finished. And now we've got.
You guys, this smells so good.
Here's
It
my,
only smells could go
here's
through
my
the
pork
camera.
tenderloin. Here's
have.
my apples and onions.
Wow.
Great. And again, we're gonna just take.
Smells nice. Wonderful.
Dinner time.
So normally what we would do is we'd take this out.
Oh, you know what? I really smell the mustard now.
You can,
too.
right?
I really smell the
Yeah.
Dijon. Oh
I'm
my
gonna let
gosh.
that rest just a minute. Probably like 3 to 5 minutes. You're gonna let your pork rest when it comes out of the oven, and while you're getting ready to plate.
Probably one of my downfalls. I don't think I worked that long, but I don't want anything to rest. Just like my wine glass. My wine glass has been resting for a while. I think I might have to revisit it.
Here's my rice. Here's the rice that I was telling you about. Again, I've been making this like I hate to even admit how long. Maybe about 35 years
So
or
great.
longer. I love trying new things, but I love having those old favorites that, especially when I'm making a dish I haven't made before, which in this case would be the pork tenderloin with a different recipe than I've used in the past. So I like to make sure that I make some things that are easy for me, that I no-brainer, I don't have to think about it, and that's how this rice is. I used, and on the recipe I actually even wrote this too, I used fresh mushrooms and fresh parsley. But this, you can also do it with, it is not a problem at all if you use,
Mushrooms in a jar.
I
or a
use mushrooms in a can
Uh-huh.
and dried parsley. And so don't even hesitate to do that if that's how you want to.
Keep those in your pantry, and then you have them to have. So some asparagus, some rice.
And asparagus, I didn't write a recipe for that because I think that's about pretty much you can do that anywhere. There
something I'm
I
learning
like
from
to plate.
Susie. Plate your food.
Well, it just looks pretty that way. I've always done that. Even when my kids were growing up, I did. And there was always more that they could have later, but they,
Well, especially now that a lot of us are home more, right, and cooking more, and,
Yeah.
and kids, and you know, we're in the kitchen. I mean, the kids probably would even want to. Well, I shouldn't say that. My kids didn't want to learn how to cook. Sorry, kids. They didn't.
So
You
when
know,
I
they just wanted it.
But they like to
some of
eat.
you might
like to eat.
remember, yeah, some of you might remember too, when I was growing up, pork was one of those things that had to be cooked really, really well.
Mm.
But we don't have to do it quite like that anymore. So you can actually put this to cook it to an internal temperature of about 140, 145, and it can be a little bit pink inside and almost, not rare, but a little pink is fine. So here's my
Yum.
Yum.
things.
Yeah. I'm gonna show this one.
Rice looks
See
amazing.
that?
And then I'm
It's
gonna
not
take,
like Doesn't that look nice?
and I'm gonna put
This
on
is from Miss Nina.
Easy.
It's
There
been
we go. Can we do this?
excellent.
I put some.
Oh, she put the sauce. Sorry. That was a preview of coming attractions. This is
I'm
actually got the apples
gonna
and
put a
onions
little
on
bit
it.
of
the
my
sauce.
onion and apple mixture
Look, it's like,
over the top of that.
Okay, now you get it, Nina.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh my gosh,
All
Susie is the queen. I'll tell you. And that was fast.
That was it.
I mean, I know you
That's
would
what
cook
we
it
did in
longer.
30
So,
minutes though.
we got one more wine to go. This is going to be with the pork. So this has been selected. Well, she selected the dish to pair with the wine. So you can do either way, right? You can decide on a menu and then pick wines to go with it. That happens a lot of times when you go to a restaurant, right? You're trying to figure out which wine to pair with food. So this is something I told myself I wanted to learn a lot more this year, was how do you pair food and wine? What makes something really enhance the flavors of the food? What foods make the wine taste better? So tonight we're going to taste a very this is a Zinfandel, so it comes from Deloche, over in the Russian River Valley. But the vines for this varietal, the grapes, come from vines that are very, very old. Dates back to the late 1800s. So if you go over to Deloche, which I highly recommend, it's a gorgeous property, biodynamic farming. The vines for this are all gnarled and old and twisted. So that's because this is a dry farmed wine. And what is dry farming?
Oh, what is that? I always wanted to know what that is.
So dry farming kind of makes sense. It means there's absolutely no irrigation, but it also means there's no trellising. So trellising, when you come to Napa Valley or really any vineyards that you visit, trellising are the really pretty ones, right? They're canopy management. They go down like this. These old vines, which are not trellised, means they're reaching the grapes are reaching for the sun, so they're kind of gnarled and twisted. They look like fingers. They're really kind of cool. But they're old vines, so the trunks are huge. I mean, they're really, really big vines. And then the roots for dry farming are going to try to find water, right? Because you're not irrigating. So the roots are going to reach down into the ground, try to get that water. We say that makes the grapes struggle a little bit, and then grapes that have to struggle actually taste better. So that's our life lesson.
Life is always so much sweeter if we've had the opposite.
Yeah. So when you struggle, it's better, right?
I can appreciate
But
it.
it is obviously, as things warm up and you don't have a lot of water available, a lot of droughts. So this is becoming a more popular way of farming, and more popular wine style is to dry farm, because it obviously conserves water, right? You don't have to, and it's really, really good for the vines.
Does it produce
Really.
less fruit?
No,
No.
it's actually really
That's
good for the
interesting.
vines, more healthy.
Yeah.
In fact, I was reading an article about a couple of vintners in Napa, and their fruit wasn't doing so well, and the vines were old. And they took about 2 or 3 years, but they
just took the
changed their
water
whole
away from
process
them,
and
huh?
started to
Wow.
do more organic and do more dry farming. So you'll see that kicked around a little bit more, but people do want to know what does it
Yeah,
mean.
no.
So
okay.
dry farming, this is as infant. Now this is about a 15.5% alcohol, so it's a little bit bigger wine. It's about a
It's
$45
amazing.
price
It's
point,
amazing,
but
right?
still,
Yes,
it's
really
beautiful,
good.
isn't it? I love Deloche. I discovered Deloche a couple of years ago before I ever even moved to Napa,
Oh,
and quickly became a club member because I
Wow.
love their
that is
wines.
awesome.
Where is this located?
Yeah, that's
Over
really
in Sonoma by the Russian River Valley. So
The last
Cheers,
round was
everybody.
very good, really good. I
The
could
Water
see myself
Creek,
drinking
sure.
that whole
Yeah, that's
like
an
I said,
everyday,
But
that's
this is amazing.
this is amazing. Yeah, and then so take a bite of your pork.
I already
You
know
know,
that.
sip your wine. I mean, this is going to be, so to me when I taste this, I get like, So this is more baked fruit, almost like a blackberry pie. It's, yeah, you're right. And I can't wait to have her pork. So, so yes, you're going to have everything in the comment section. We'll post it on our event page. So if you missed the live broadcast, you can order this Clean Living, these clean wines. If you're intrigued and you want to try them, all three of these wines are only $75. If you join my wine society, and I'd love to have you as a member, then all three wines are only $60. She's a member. Don't you want to be a member too? So we'll post the link for that. We'll post the link to Wink. We'll post the link for you to join the wine society, the link to buy the wines if you want to try them now, and then Susie's going to have her amazing recipes on there
I'll
too.
have all the recipes as well, and the instructions on how to do them. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks for
Cheers.
being part of our first live
Thank
event.
you.
Cheers. Thank you. Yeah, and you can get me, you can find me as well on Classesin, CLASSISIN. I have a blog there. So yeah, go ahead.
Peace.
Bye.